Live to tape.
Welcome to Millennial, episode 44. I'm Andrew.
I'm Laura.
I'm Matt.
No Elisa this week, but we do have an old, deep-voiced friend back.
You
Hello,
upgraded.
Micah.
Happy Hanukkah!
Yeah.
Yay!
That's why you brought me back.
How many
Matt
nights?
knows the prayer.
A little bit.
How many nights into Hanukkah are we?
This is the third night of Hanukkah.
Are we disrupting your celebration?
No, I thought we would celebrate live on the show.
Oh, okay. Everybody whip out the
Oh.
menorah. Do you play dreidel?
Is that appropriate for the show?
I didn't ask
Well,
you
I
to
guess
stick up your
everything's
butt.
appropriate for the show.
I was gonna say.
There isn't much that isn't appropriate, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do have a story, actually. I was in Brooklyn this weekend, and I was coming back home, and while I was in the station there, this Orthodox Jewish person walked up to me and tried to give me a menorah and candles for Hanukkah, which, well, I mean, this is New York, so you never know, first of all, what you're being given, and you never know if you're going to be asked to pay for it after they hand it to you. So, I just try to be nice and respectful and say, no, I have one. I'm celebrating. And so, but it was just really weird to somebody to be handing you a menorah in the middle of New York City.
Maybe that's a new thing, because I actually know somebody here in L.A. who tweeted that same thing. He's not Jewish, and he lied to the guy just to get it for free. Maybe they're just trying to increase...
Well, they want to spread the religion and some holiday cheer.
It was always my understanding that Jews generally aren't out trying to recruit. No, and I'm not
Have
trying
you not
to be a
seen
dick
the
when I
mitzvah
say
van in New York City?
No.
Okay, well, you need to see it before you leave.
So, we are at the end of the year here. We are approaching our season finale, and we just wanted to let everybody know that we're probably going to do something fun for the season finale, which is in about 2 weeks. So, keep an eye out on the Millennial. Shut up, Micah. I don't know what he said, but shut up. Keep an eye on our social media.
You didn't even last a year?
Huh? Yes, it's been a year.
He says we're ending. He thinks that we're ending the show.
Oh, no. We're gonna have a
It's
fun
our season
show.
finale.
Yeah, season finale.
Oh, not series finale.
Did I say series?
No, I probably made that up.
Okay. So, season finale in a couple of weeks, and we'll share more details on social media and on the website, so keep an eye out for that. It is tentatively titled Millennial Season 1 Finale, Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Falls in Love, and How Will the Adventure Finally End?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder what that was.
Hopefully you have as much success as the book did.
Yeah. We're going to be a New York Times bestseller.
Podcast, yeah.
Oh,
And a Broadway show.
Hopefully I don't get fucked over on this one.
So
anyway.
We kind of have two big aspects of the show. Again, it is the holiday season, so we're going to talk about gift giving, and we're going to make some recommendations for everybody. And then, unfortunately, this episode is going to be a little Trumpy, which we don't love to toot that horn, but
it's not our fault.
We have to talk about that, and of course, the tragic shooting in San Bernardino that happened last week, and lots more coming up. But to transition to our gift-giving discussion, I just wanted to say, fuck you to Apple. They announced a new smart battery case for $100 that's ugly as hell, and it's like, why are you making a battery case for your phones? How about you just make the batteries in your phone better?
Yeah.
Yeah, that battery case looks like your phone swallowed an iPod.
Oh my God, you're right. It's got a lump in the middle.
It's just a lump. Yeah, it's the kind of lump that you should go to your doctor to check first.
Yeah. It looks, maybe they just stuck an iPod Nano in the case, and they're drawing from the old recycled Nano batteries for extra power. But man, is it stupid.
I don't know.
It's $100 too?
Yeah.
$100. Which actually, in terms of battery cases, that's not too bad of a price, but still, it's like, why are you doing this?
Now I have another.
I'm really happy with the battery life on my phone, though.
yeah,
pretty
but
good.
it's pretty new too. You still got like another year and a half.
Yeah,
I don't.
these will
This
be
shit's unlocked.
these will
Oh.
be more popular though once the batteries in the iPhones do start sucking. The iPhone 6 and
Yeah.
6.
But I mean, also the news we got last week too about the next iPhone not even going to have headphone jacks. Like, what's going on with these people? What is going on with this?
Yeah,
company?
Apple. Why don't you put extra battery where the headphone jack used to be? How about that?
Wait, so what happens then? How are you listening to music?
You don't.
Through
Yeah,
this
they're
podcast.
they're actually predicting that people aren't going to listen to music in the future.
By 2016.
by 2016,
Or
something's
this
gonna happen.
podcast?
No,
Yeah.
so you'll plug into the lightning connector that's there. I know it's dumb.
It's stupid.
Wow.
That's the rumor anyway. But I'm sure at some point they will do that. Apple has an obsession with thinness, and which makes this battery case even more hilarious because there's a lump on the back, an awkward lump. I can't imagine how that
It's a
feels in your
butt.
pocket. Anyway,
But
so I was thinking about this gift giving, the whole concept of gift giving. We're doing this Secret Santa exchange here on the podcast.
I just got mine today.
Oh,
Was that
really?
right?
Oh,
What did I wait. I wasn't asked to be a part of this.
No, because you
You
quit.
you really weren't.
Yeah. So, we're doing a Secret Santa, and it was just making me think about gift giving in general. Do you guys get stressed out when selecting gifts?
no.
No, not really. Not like stressed, but I mean, I guess it kind of sucks because you you start to kind of weigh like how you actually like of the people that you know, who do you really care about enough to spend money on?
Well, yeah, and it's also
Not you guys.
What
Yeah.
stresses me out is the following 4 questions. Will they like this gift? Will they resent me for this gift?
Of course.
What if they already have this? That's the one that stresses me out more than anything. And then, what if someone gets something for me and I don't get something for them?
That's the one. That was the one I was waiting for.
What, does that one bother you?
Well, a little bit, but I also knew I was waiting for you to say that too. It's kind of like the whole like you don't want to like waste your time thinking of somebody unless you really care about the person.
Are you
Like,
saying I don't
it's-
think about anybody unless...
No, but I just was hoping that you would say it so I didn't feel like I
But
was the
see,
only
if
one.
if that happens, there's such an easy way out of that. And what you say is, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I love it. Just to let you know, yours is in the mail. I'm still waiting for it. It got back ordered."
As you
That's what
look
you
over
gotta
your
say.
shoulder and punch up Amazon on your phone really quick.
Do you guys ever kind of like when you and your family, like especially with your siblings, because I do this with my siblings, we kind of tell each other how much we're going to spend on each person. I always kind of spend a little more just so I can feel better about myself and I feel superior.
I never share my Christmas budget with anybody, so no.
Really?
No.
Well, like for the Secret Santa, we set a budget.
Well, yeah, for that, obviously. But, like,
Clearly mine
if
was at
I'm-
$0.
yours was actually at, like, -15. You actually owe us money.
Well, do you guys ever make gifts or do you just do the whole shopping and paying for shit?
I'm not super creative when it comes to arts and crafts and making stuff. So I spare people that and I just buy them something nice.
How about handwriting cards?
I do that, actually.
Mm-hmm.
With my grandparents, well, my grandmother, since they really don't need anything anymore since they're getting on in years, I always just make them like I bake them desserts or food or something.
Oh, that's nice.
That's a good idea. I'm
Such
actually
a good
writing.
grandson.
I'm
I
actually
know.
handwriting a lot of cards this year, and I did about 20 the other day. And oh my gosh, I must not write at all anymore because my hand was cramping so much by the end of it. I had to stop.
Yeah, do you ever try to write? I think the only time I ever write in cursive is when I'm writing out rent checks.
Isn't it funny how how in school they taught you cursive and it was so useless? Did you guys have to learn cursive?
Yeah,
I actually
each
still
letter.
write in cursive.
Good
I
for
like
you.
to write that way. But no, it's true. Cursive really isn't super useful. And I will point out that I remember so many teachers saying to me, when you're a grown-up, you're not going to have a calculator in your pocket. Boom, bitch. I got my iPhone.
Never happened.
Yeah.
School is useless.
Wait,
I think go ahead, Micah. What's up?
isn't the Constitution written in cursive?
Okay.
yeah.
Well, even if so, that was like forever ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally forever ago.
I don't even think schools are even teaching them anymore.
Yeah,
I think it's not-
wonder.
I don't think it's actually like part of the curriculum anymore.
Some schools do. It just depends.
Well, you can type everything now, though.
Yeah, I was just going to say, how about typing classes? I had to do that in elementary school. Did you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. On
High
those big
school.
gateway PCs with the flying toasters as the screensaver.
Oh my God.
I wonder if they even bother teaching typing anymore, because if you kind of grow up with a computer now, so you probably learn it.
Maybe the keyboards are going to be just big enough for your thumbs.
Mm.
Yeah. I actually have a gift purchasing story because each
Micah
year.
loaded with stories tonight.
Man.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Micah.
I came prepared. You said I didn't even look at the fucking doc, and I'm here. I'm talking more than half the people. So,
Whoa.
Okay, Micah.
Calm
Jeez.
down, Micah. Just bring the volume down to foghorn level, please.
is it too loud?
Yeah,
No, you're good. Go
You're
ahead.
fine. You're fine.
Anyway, so each year we get letters from kids, and we have to go out and fulfill what the kid requested. And this year we went a little bit higher on the age side of things, and so I get a request for an iPhone 5S case with the screen protector. Now I'm sitting here thinking to myself, if you're requesting that, that means you have an iPhone. I'm not really sure, like, how much do you actually need something like this? Like in years past, I've gone out and I've gotten like Transformers or Spider-Man or something like that. You think a kid would enjoy for the holidays, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but slowly but surely, like I started going to the store and I would see like the Otter boxes with the screen protectors, like $50. They're not inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
So, I had to like find a workaround a little bit because I didn't want to spend $50. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. That doesn't seem like a very exciting gift.
It's
like you were
not
saying.
though. And it's, you want the kid to at least open it up and not like look next to the other kid who also requested the exact same thing and be like, oh, damn, like she got an Otter box and like he's just got like a little Amazon $8 purchase that
Right.
came in the
Made
mail.
China.
Yeah. So, but I took care of it, but it was interesting to have to do that because it puts a lot of pressure on you because, this may be one of the only gifts that kid gets for the entire holiday or for Christmas, for Hanukkah, whatever it is. So
No pressure at all.
yeah.
I hate when people ask for gift cards, or even when you give gift cards.
Oh, I love gift cards.
Oh, it's not personal. It's lazy.
Laura's like, just fucking.
No,
Stay
seriously,
for
no,
it,
gift
I'm done.
cards, like, let's be honest, gift cards are the gift that says, I don't know you, but still, it's awesome because I prefer to pick out my own shit.
Well,
You know what I mean?
In some cases, I guess that could, like maybe a clothing store, because that's obviously, your own opinion of what you would want to wear. But like my sister, I said, okay, brother and sister, what do you want for Christmas? And my sister said, plug that hole in the wall that you poked through 10 years ago. No,
Yes. Did she really? That'd be
No.
great.
Oh, Micah, you don't even want to know. So actually, you probably do want to know. Lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. So my sister's like, get me a gift card to this massage place. And I'm like, sorry, no. Gift cards are lame as hell. Come up with something else. She's like, okay, I'll brainstorm. Still haven't heard back.
Yeah. So you're saying you don't want the $100 gift card I got you to purchase your Apple iPhone 6s smart battery case charcoal gray.
No, I'm fine with my battery life.
Have you ever had it where those cards just sit by the wayside and you never use them and it's just $100, $50 that go to waste?
I usually use them.
Well, okay,
Micah,
so
you can send me any gift cards you don't want.
So what we started with this conversation was that we have some gift recommendations that we thought of this week. And so we're going to start off with Andrew. You take it away.
Okay, so first of all, simple one. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone Illustrated Edition. This came out a couple of months ago. No matter what level of a Harry Potter fan a person is in your life, they are going to like this book. It is absolutely beautiful. It's an oversized book to fit the full story and the illustrations in one package. It's printed on glossy paper. It is just so fun to read, and the illustrations are just effing gorgeous. Actually, I'm looking on Amazon right now. It's temporarily out of stock, so it must be a
Oh, wow.
really hot seller right now. And by the way, so is the Harry Potter coloring book, so also out of stock. That came out a couple months ago. So Harry Potter, very popular this year. But yeah, if you go to Barnes and Noble or something, you'll find it. But this is such a good gift for any Harry Potter fan. I would buy it for all three of you if I cared enough about you guys to buy you gifts.
Oh, that means a lot.
We didn't know that you cared.
Yeah.
Now we do.
And then my second recommendation, this is a little more personal. My boyfriend is a big reader, and I wanted to get him something like a good gift for, somebody who's really into reading. So I found this kind of stamp thing, this embosser. You can get a custom name printed in the embosser. So in other words, you kind of stamp this little work of art on a piece of paper in the book that in this case says library of, and then it'll say his name, and it's got a kind of a book in the middle. And I thought it was cool because, if for somebody who really likes books, it's just kind of a neat way to make it your own. And this website that I found it on, horchow.com, HORCHOW, they kind of encourage it for you when you lend books to people, so they know where the book came from. But I just thought it was a cute idea to really personalize your books if you really care about books. So that's only $20, but it does take a while to receive. Right now, if you order it, you're probably not going to get it till the new year, so maybe a little late for the holidays. But
well, shit.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, I thought it was cute. I think he's really going to like it.
Oh.
Laura? What recommendations do you have?
If you want to do something charitable in the name of a loved one this season, I have a couple of recommendations for you. The first thing is you can give the gift of education. You can actually buy your loved one a class at a local college. So if they've ever expressed to you an interest in something really obscure, like, I don't know, underwater basket weaving, buy them a class in that thing. And you will literally have given them a gift that will last for 5 or 6 months. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
I would
long.
love it if somebody bought me a class. I think that'd be awesome.
What do you know what the average prices are for these, or?
For classes, it just depends on the college.
Yeah, but they're affordable-ish?
Well, especially if you look at a local college or a state college, a community college, probably pretty affordable.
Yeah.
There are obviously different schools that can fit different financial brackets, I suppose. But yeah, definitely if you look at it like a local college, you're probably looking at, anywhere from 500 to 1,000, I would imagine. So it is expensive. It's not cheap, but it is really something that will make an impact in that person's life.
It shows you love the person.
It really does. It really
does. And
does.
You want them more educated than they are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you're an idiot. You really need to take a class.
Hey, dumbass, go to school.
Yeah.
Why didn't you give me a video game? You need to go to school.
The other thing that you can do is make a difference in the world in the name of your loved one. So the International Rescue Committee is one of the top-rated charities in the world, and you can actually give a year of school for a child in a developing country for $58.
Wow.
$58 for a whole fucking year of school, and you can do that in the name of your loved one.
That's really great.
I would love it if somebody did this for me for Christmas.
Yeah.
These are the two best gifts.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I know, it is.
Well, shit, I'm supposed to go next. Well,
Good luck.
Yeah, okay, well, all right. So for my first recommendation gift, I say give your conservative right-wing relatives the gift that they will love and you will love to hate. Give them the biggest reminder of what's keeping people from taking their party seriously. And that is the Donald Trump Make America Great Again baseball cap. I personally am going to buy this for my father, who is not really big on politics, but will definitely know what the hat is. And I think it's just one of those really nice novelty gifts that you can buy your family who might actually think it's a really nice gift to get, and you will secretly know why you hate some people.
I would actually buy this and wear it myself.
Yeah, it's like I would say it's going to become like a hipster fad too.
Yeah,
Please do that.
There's different kinds. There's some on Etsy. There's some on Amazon. They range from like $12 to $25. Like, it's not a huge investment, but it seems like it's becoming a much more popular commodity on online shopping. So
yeah,
I think just get on it. Be part of it before it becomes common knowledge with everybody.
Whoever my secret Santa is, do not get this for me. Do not.
Speaking of this, Pride next year, like the gay celebration, I am going to wear, since we'll only be 5 months away from the election at that point, I'm going to purchase and wear one of those "I'd bottom for Hillary" shirts.
Nice.
And I can't wait.
That's great.
Yeah. I decided that recently. I just wanted to share with you guys.
It's amazing.
Micah, how about you? What are you giving for Hanukkah?
Hey, I have one more.
Oh, sorry.
I just have one more. One more that I actually bought for myself that I think everyone should buy for themselves or other people too. It's called the 5-Minute Journal. It is basically a little book of self-esteem and daily affirmations that you can do. Just takes 5 minutes. The book has just a few things that it says that you can fill in the blanks, like things that you are grateful for today, or things that you did today that you could do differently tomorrow, and things that you want to get done this week. And it really helps. Just 5 minutes of just almost like self-therapy that you do for yourself every day. So I think it's a really great idea. It's called the 5-Minute Journal.
That's very cool.
Nice.
Micah?
I'm going to just keep it really basic and say, give the gift of time, volunteer. It kind of goes along with what Laura was saying earlier. I mean, there's a lot of different organizations out there that, locally, not just, nationally, that, you can easily sign up with and give your time during the holiday season. It doesn't have to be a lot. It could be 30 minutes. It could be an hour, but just with a lot of the work that I do on a day-to-day basis, I see a lot of this and I see the impact that it has just for people to spend some time, no matter who it's with. It could be kids, it could be the elderly, it could be, really across the board, but it definitely makes a difference around this time of year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
very nice.
All right.
Thank you.
Those are our recommendations. Hopefully maybe some of you will use them because they were all great.
They really were. We do a great job of what we do, guys. Let's just give yourself a pat on the back.
Yeah. Well, I feel like shit making after hearing Laura and Micah's recommendations.
Don't feel like shit. They're just different ideas for different people. That's
they
all.
were better ideas. We get it.
I actually did donate to charity on behalf of somebody last year. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So I think you stole that from me. You're welcome.
Probably. That's usually how this works.
So, let's move on to the news now. We're going to start with the unfortunate story that happened last week in San Bernardino. 14 people were dead and another 21 were injured at a holiday party. This was about an hour east of Los Angeles. It was the biggest mass shooting in the United States since Sandy Hook 3 years ago. We still don't know the motive, but we do know a lot about the shooters. For reasons that we'll discuss later. They were a couple who met online. Both had Pakistani roots. The guy was born in Chicago while the woman lived overseas. She came here on a K-1 visa, or one of those fiancé visas. That's one of those visas where if you're going to marry somebody over here and you can prove it, you can live over here. And that's, we know a lot of details about them, and we're not going to get into the nitty gritty of it, but there are other aspects we want to talk about, including one Matt has for us.
Well, like Andrew was saying, that we don't really know too much about what went into planning this attack, but one of the few things that we did find out was that one of the shooters, the woman, she pledged on allegiance to ISIS on her Facebook status right before the attack, which had been taken down by Facebook. Right now, we don't know what exactly was said on the status. No one's revealed the information, but that has brought up one of the topics of conversation that we've had recently about this kind of terrorism in the country, is that this was done as an attack in the name of the organization that not necessarily was carried out by the organization itself. So one of the questions I wanted to bring up with you guys was, how should we, is there a different way that we should treat these kind of attacks since they were done in the name of ISIS instead of actually carried out by the organization itself?
I think
no.
Yeah.
It's a mass shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is terrorism no matter who commits it.
Thank you, Laura. That was one of the things that bothered me watching the news, is whether they were going to classify it as an act of terror, because they were waiting to determine if there was any tie back to ISIS. And the reality is it doesn't matter. It's domestic terrorism then. And, we need to think back to a lot of the things that have transpired before this. And the way we classify it is it's a mass shooting if it is a white perpetrator. But as soon as it is a Muslim perpetrator, it becomes an act of terrorism. And it's been a problem for a long time. And that's unfortunately how we've come to process things as a society. And a large part is driven by the media.
Yeah. Basically, we've been... I'll go ahead, Andrew.
The police also were hesitant to call it terrorism. Obama eventually did, 2 or 3 days later, I believe it was. And, now the FBI is involved, and this is a very serious investigation. So I can understand why the police did not want to call it terrorism straight away, because they needed to gather some details first. I think this one was classified quicker than others were.
But still, the fact that you had the chief of police addressing the media and saying, we don't know if this is terrorism yet, the suspects might have been American. As though being
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the fact that somehow being American means that you're not a terrorist.
Right. It's either considered a mass shooting until we find out if they're Muslim or not. If they're Muslim, it's terrorism. If they're not, then it was I don't know, a mental health issue.
Mm-hmm.
Or something.
Well, and the guy was born in Chicago, so he was American. So.
Yeah. So another big aspect of this that I saw with this shooting more than any I can remember in recent history is that people were really calling out the whole thoughts and prayers thing. So the shooting happened, and then you see the politicians or even just everyday people just saying thoughts and prayers to the people affected, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. And with this shooting, I too was really reflecting on this and being like, I am just so tired of this thoughts and prayers thing. I have a dark mind. You may have discovered this on Millennial occasionally. And I agree that thoughts and prayers, saying that, is so useless. It does nothing. Your fake God, who you are apparently praying to, is not going to be helping with this situation. And I loved the New York Daily News cover the following day. It had 4 tweets from politicians, including Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Lindsey Graham, and Paul Ryan. They all said thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. And next to that, in big, bold letters, the Daily News says, God isn't fixing this. And I shared this on Twitter, and somebody I'm friendly with, I respect him, he called this gross. And I was like, first of all, it's the New York Daily News. They're not exactly held to a very high standard in general, so I don't get upset. But B, I mean, it's not wrong. Nothing is going your thoughts and prayers, no matter who they come from, the Pope, the politicians, anyone, it's not going to help. We need to have actual discussions on this. And solutions.
And it's very robotic at this point. It almost seems like I'm expecting that these politicians must have auto updates ready to go for when another mass shooting happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's basically just saying bless you after a sneeze.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's tough because you don't know necessarily how to respond all the time if you're in the public eye. And I think that these politicians don't necessarily have a choice in terms of how they respond, at least initially. Certainly they can follow up with more action. And I think that's what the Daily News front page was getting at. And I'm in agreement with you, Andrew. I think that whenever I see those posts on Facebook or people tweet or you watch it on TV, it's just, this has gotten to such a point in our country where those words are just meaningless. Like, take definitive action to prevent these individuals from getting guns in the first place, and then we can have a conversation. But it's almost like it's a sticking point. It gnaws at you a little bit every time you hear it, because these are the people who have the ability to influence change, and they're not doing anything. Every time these events continue to happen, they're providing the same rhetoric over and over and over again.
They're trying to keep the small minority that is the loudest, that has the loudest voice in their group, happy.
And the funny thing about it is the amount of these people who have actually taken money from the NRA to fund their campaigns.
That's the big thing here. These politicians who just say thoughts and prayers and that's it, the NRA is paying them off to not change anything about the gun laws in this country. And it's a really sad state of affairs. Meanwhile, and we're going to talk about this later, Trump wants to block all Muslims. How about blocking all guns temporarily? He keeps saying, oh, we're just going to do it for a little bit while we figure out what's going on. How about we block all gun sales temporarily until we figure that out? I mean, it's just such a hypocritical statement.
I find it hilarious that the same people who want to block all Muslims out of this country won't do anything to stop people who are on the terror watch list from obtaining weapons.
Yeah, that too.
You know, as I said on Facebook last week, I hope everybody's thoughts and prayers are actually you thinking on how you're going to be voting in 2016. And I decided last week that this is going to be my thing that I harp on. Obviously, there's other matters, global warming and whatnot, that need to be discussed in the run up to the next election. But I'm just so tired of this, as everybody is, and I'm going to start being vocal about it. Like, this is my issue that I'm going to be vocal about on Facebook. I'm going to be that asshole who shares political updates. And, you know, I did that one last week about thinking and praying on who you're going to vote for in 2016. My fucking uncle, who evidently has no understanding of the Second Amendment, said we need to protect the Second Amendment to allow people to continue have guns for those few minutes before the cops can show up. That's what he said. He said everybody should have guns so that while we're waiting for the cops to show up, they can fight back. And I'm like, first of all, that has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. Like, you do not understand that. And then my fucking uncle's fucking friend replies to that comment and says, yeah, I just went out and tried to buy more ammo yesterday and they were sold out. I'm like, oh my God. So I deleted that comment and I blocked him from my profile.
Yeah, no, that's like the prototypical, like, you can't change the Second Amendment type. And it's like,
yeah, but like, it's
an
also,
amendment.
I mean, everyone thinks that it's always cut and dry. Like, it's black and white, that we either we have access to guns or we have no access to guns whatsoever.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
what is the difference? What will really change if we got rid of just the large assault rifles and the other, like, large like large artillery rifles and guns?
Yeah.
Like, people do not even need those. The guns that people, I mean, if someone needs a handgun, I understand that, just to try to feel protected, and that's one thing. But like, a lot of these mass shootings are not from like small handheld weapons. These are large artillery weapons that, frankly, should not be in the hands of any citizen.
Yeah, assault rifles that you see in video games.
Right. I think the point is, we are never going to completely 100% eliminate gun-related fatalities in this country. It's not going to happen. No country has been able to achieve that. Mm-hmm. But we can eliminate, or at least severely reduce, the frequency with which these mass shootings occur by preventing people from buying these large capacity weapons that they don't need. I'm sorry, if you're not in the military, you don't need an AR-15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, we've seen strict gun control go into effect and work. We saw this in Australia 20 years ago. There have been no mass killings since then. They took back tons of guns after a mass shooting there 20 years ago. And since then, there's been no mass shootings. It's a perfect example. I've actually started bookmarking links to reports like about Australia and some other data. I'm just going to start dropping these on Facebook when I see assholes who are pissing me off. Because this is my cause. But, Micah, we also found out some disturbing numbers about gun sales on Black Friday.
Yeah, it was pretty sad. I mean, and the statistic that I think most people go back to when it comes to these shootings is what has transpired since Newtown, and the fact that we really did come together for the most part and say that it was never going to happen again. And at least on school campuses, there's been over 140 shootings. So, it's really, really sad. But, and you mentioned Black Friday. I think obviously that had a lot to do with what transpired in San Bernardino, why the sales were so high. And it said that the FBI had processed more than 185,000 background checks for gun purchases, which is more than any single day in 17 years.
Yeah.
So it's pretty representative of how we react as a country when these types of things happen. We see what happens out in San Bernardino, and we say to ourselves, oh, we need to go and we need to purchase guns because we need to protect ourselves, because that's going to make the situation better.
Oh, hypothetical situation when ISIS comes to attack us. So basically we're trying to keep the gun laws intact just to save ourselves for this hypothetical situation of what might happen. And instead, all this other shit that's actually happening right now isn't as important.
And you know why else the Republicans don't want to repeal the gun laws? Because that's what the liberals do want. And
also because they get a pretty hefty amount of funding from the NRA. The NRA has them bought. And it's not just Republicans. There are some Democrats they have bought too, but it's mostly Republicans.
Yeah.
In relation to these shootings, something really fucking bizarre and unsettling happened, and I think it's a sign that it's time to put American news media out of its misery, because it done fucked up big this time. So MSNBC and our favorite friends at CNN made a TV spectacle out of the apartment of the two San Bernardino shooters after the landlord regained entry to the apartment and let them in. There were reporters and cameramen shoving each other to get into this apartment, where they then went through everything they could find and displayed social security cards, driver's licenses, photos, and a host of other things they found. Obviously, this would be messed up and a signal that these fuckers left their journalistic integrity at home. But the huge fuck up is that much of the private information they displayed on camera did not belong to the two shooters. None of the information was blurred or redacted, which means that at this point, Millennial is now in more possession of journalistic integrity than the bright sparks at MSNBC and CNN. It's not saying much.
It's a sad day.
There was a great tweet. Somebody said Brian Williams suddenly became the most respectable person at MSNBC after what happened. It was really sad to watch. Gawker has the whole thing. MSNBC's they were rooting around the house like it was an episode of Storage Wars, and I almost understand it, because first of all, the landlord fucked up. He should not have let the media in. I have no clue what he was thinking. But also, in defense of the media, if one of them went in, if just one of the 100+ people there went in, they all had to go in. They could not sit around a campfire and a kumbaya and say, all right, everybody, we're going to agree to not go in the house. That's just wrong. One of them did it. They all had to. Otherwise, they probably would be fired from their jobs, because they're getting less coverage than the competitors. So I understand it from that perspective, but yeah, it was still extremely screwed up.
Yeah, it just goes against all logic. Why would you go into an apartment after the FBI took all evidence? So basically, you're just breaking into an apartment of something that has no real evidence for anything.
And the footage shows that the apartment was boarded up. Nobody was supposed to go in there. And the footage actually shows the landlord and a couple of guys trying to pull the boarding off the front door.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was
It's crazy though, because I remember, I don't know if I had to have been watching TV, I guess, unless CNN sent out one of their alerts. And I just thought to myself, how did they even get access? So I didn't know the full story, and I didn't think that it was even legal that they were in there. Like the police, the FBI, anybody would have let them in there. But is the landlord in jail now? He should be if he's not.
I don't think he is.
So.
I know the police pulled him aside and put him in the car for a little bit. They were probably just like, "Yo, what the hell? What are you doing?"
But this is the problem, and I'm sure you've discussed this on the show at one point or another with 24-hour news stations. It's just, when these incidents take place, initially it's good to have a station like a CNN, but after that, like a couple hours in, the analysis, it's just, it gets to be too much.
It's around and around in circles. It's all speculative. It's annoying.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
More positive news.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and launch into quick fire news. If you guys remember, last week we debuted this new news format where we're going to blow through a few quick news stories and spend about 2 minutes on each of them, just so that we make sure we don't miss anything.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Let's do it.
All right, Matt, we're going to do it.
Let's go. Let's do it.
So this week we're going to start with former President Jimmy Carter. He has been declared cancer-free just months after a stage 4 melanoma diagnosis. Did you guys hear about this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's crazy. I remember a few months ago, I was like, oh, Carter's dead. Because up until relatively recently, stage 4 melanoma was a death sentence.
Mm. Well, everybody loves him, and everybody gave him his thoughts and prayers, and that's how he survived it.
Thoughts and prayers.
Maybe
Thoughts and
God
prayers.
is real.
God fixed it.
No, well, actually what it is he's being treated with a new drug that's called, and I'm going to try and say this and I'm going to fuck it up, pembrolizumab, I think is how you say it. And it's actually a drug that was just approved within the last few years. And this thing has literally taken him from the point where he had spots on his brain to the point where they're no longer visible.
Wow.
He doesn't have any visible signs of cancer. Of course, this doesn't mean that there aren't cancerous cells in his body. They could still be there. But this is very, very promising because when you get rid of the visible cancer, that actually could buy somebody another 4 to 8 years. And the guy's already 91.
I was just going to say that the guy is 91 years old, and this all was a successful transaction, a procedure.
Transaction.
and he still
Good for him.
He still teaches Sunday school. He made this announcement at his Sunday school class.
The guy still works for Habitat for Humanity. He builds houses.
Yeah.
Like, he's crazy. I mean, this is very bad news for the guinea worm. I don't know.
The guy is a machine.
All right, so
Totally is.
moving on, we mentioned this earlier. Trump has called for a ban Trump is calling to bar Muslims from entering America. In a statement on Monday, the Republican hopeful ignored legal niceties and hallowed tradition and called for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the U.S., in effect opposing a religious test for people setting foot in America. Large segments of the Muslim population are driven by a blind hatred, Trump said, and until and unless we are able to determine and understand this problem and the dangerous threats it poses, members of the Islamic faith must be kept from the country indefinitely. The thing about this may be the thing that breaks Trump. He may have finally taken it a step too far by Trump standards. Everybody is turning against him. He just keeps digging down deeper into this hole that he created. He did an interview with Barbara Walters today where he said his Muslim friends even agree with him, which is obviously bullshit.
Yeah, Donald Trump doesn't have Muslim friends.
Yeah, I was
Exactly.
just going to say that part of it's probably not true either. It's, I watched some of the speech last night, and clearly there are people out there that support him and they like what he has to say. Because
I believe you. You're right.
There are things that he says. There's parts of what he says, I should say, that people are easily able to identify with based on recent events. And it seems like he's gone from hating on one group, which he did, to much of a negative response earlier on in this campaign when he wanted to build his wall, to now the Muslim community. And I just don't know, by the time this election rolls around, or even the primary, is there going to be any group of people left that he has not in some way insulted?
No.
White men.
So. Yeah. Even J.K. Rowling called him out earlier today. I cannot wait for Donald Trump to respond to J.K. Rowling.
I know. She called him worse than Voldemort.
I'm predicting that he is going to say, the Harry Potter books were a massive failure. She's a loser. But, Micah, I agree with what you're saying completely. Donald Trump has revealed how many mentally incapacitated people we have in this country. Because there are people who would genuinely vote for him in light of all this stuff he is saying, and they believe him, and they believe all the lies he tells. It's insane.
I think that's offensive to mentally incapacitated people.
I'm sorry, but this just proves that we have these people in America. I'm not saying any of our listeners
they're
are.
bigots. I mean, and he provides a medium. He provides a voice for them. This is what a lot of America, unfortunately, has been wanting to say for a long time. And you see this, regardless of how you feel about Donald Trump, successful business person, a celebrity, air quotes around that, standing up in front of thousands of people, giving these speeches, speaking to what we view as really scary rhetoric, but it somehow is resonating with a lot of people around the country. That's why he is still significantly ahead in so many polls, because people have been waiting to have somebody say what is actually on their minds.
Right.
And yeah, he's extreme, but unfortunately there's a lot of people out there who identify with him and what he's saying.
And he does a really good job of trying to keep updated with the current events. And when I say that, I mean knows exactly what to say to get the same group of people constantly in his favor when these kind of events happen. When he was talking about the wall and immigration. Yep. He and then when the mass shooting started, he started using that to his advantage and started just naming off like the ban of Muslims and the taking down of the internet. And at the end of this campaign, pretty much everyone is going to forget who anybody else who's running for president, at least for the GOP, is, because all they keep hearing is Donald Trump. He knows he really has no idea what he's doing.
All right, next story.
All right, so the time has come, guys, to reveal the real reason why Elise is not on this episode.
Why is that?
There is a new sexually transmitted disease floating around our schools and our country. And just in time for the holidays, guys. So may I introduce you all to the Mycoplasma genitalium, or as the kids like to call it, MG. It's basically a bacterial infection that mainly for women include irritation and painful urination and bleeding after sex. You know the norm. And for men, though, the most common signs are painful urination as well, and just a little bit of watery discharge from the penis. Now, most of you are freaking out because I said penis, but thankfully this new STD is actually fairly treatable. Really, what you can do is just get yourself an antibiotic, azithromycin, or as most people like to call it, the Z-Pack. It's very effective against MG. So, boys and girls, make sure you put on your holiday weenie beanies before Santa comes to your house. And I'm sure you know what I mean when I say that. And
people get Z-Packs when they have strep, is that right?
Yeah, so I feel like my idea was like, if you're embarrassed, just tell the doctor you have strep.
Yeah, that sounds good. / it hurts when I pee.
Yeah, it
I got
really
strep
hurts when I pee.
/ I've got the MGs, if you know what I mean.
My penis is tearing.
Well, that's exciting. Always good to hear about a new STD.
Something to look for.
I hope Elisa gets well soon.
Happy Hanukkah.
I'll have to give her a lesson in not having sex. I'm an expert in that. So.
Well, speaking of other problematic things in the world, Beijing has announced its first smog red alert, and it has closed schools and businesses. Did you guys see the pictures?
Yeah, I did.
It is incredible.
Wild.
It looks like it's like some kind of post-apocalyptic society.
Yeah, well, that's what they're calling it, airpocalypse.
Insane.
I don't know how it gets like this. I mean,
it's from what I read, it's caught the smog at least is caused by burning of coal for the industry and heating, and just it accumulating just constantly because there really is no humidity. There's a lot of humidity and there's no wind in the city. Mm. So really in the countrywide, like wind is not a thing there. Apparently, but there's just so many construction sites and just so much coal that's burning into the air that it's just becoming this massive cloud over it.
Yeah, and just to put it in perspective, people can only see for around 200 meters.
This is like in broad.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
They're all wearing masks.
How many feet in a meter? So the other thing is that the World Health Organization has said that anything over 25 micrograms of this, like these poisonous particles per cubic meter is considered unsafe. In Beijing, it's 256 micrograms per cubic meter.
Huge.
People say in LA we have it bad. By the way, I found out a cool fact about LA the other day. Our gas is more expensive because it's better. It helps keep the air clean.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
So now whenever anybody bitches about the gas price,
is that what they tell you?
Huh?
Is that what they tell you?
That's what they tell me.
Okay.
That's what the governor told me when I spoke with him the other day. No, I think it's true. It makes sense. More expensive gas. It's cleaner. It's special gas. It's different.
It's the good gas.
Yeah.
It's the gas that you like to smell.
I need to breathe to do the show. I don't know how you guys in New York do it.
It's difficult. I'll say that.
But like, do we know if China is even doing anything for this, or are they just waiting it out?
I think all they can do is kind of wait it out until it dissipates a little bit.
Well,
I mean,
the
state of emergency, at least the red alert for schools and everything, it's only basically a week.
Oh yeah, but I thought you meant like the air pollution problem. I think they can't just wait that out.
Well, no, I mean, eventually it will dissipate somewhat, back to like the moderately disastrous level that it was at before.
But this happens often, maybe not as bad as it is now, but every once in a while we will get like a news story that says like Beijing is back to all this smog that they can't see.
Right. Beijing can't breathe. Breaking news. Beijing can't breathe again.
Isn't China in Paris right now trying to resolve that with a bunch of other countries?
I don't know.
Yes, Micah, absolutely.
For the climate summit.
Oh, yeah. We spoke about that last week. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, we did actually talk about that last week.
All right.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
So that is quick fire news. I like that. It's a good way to zoom through the stories that we want to talk about.
I agree.
Pew pew.
It's nice and quick.
All right. So to wrap up the show today, we are going to do a Associate Producer's Choice extravaganza. These topics were submitted by people who support us on Patreon at the $10 level. They get to submit topics each and every week over at patreon.com/millennial. Now featuring a new app, which was officially released, by the way, for iPhone and Android. Mm-hmm.
Droid.
So this first one is from Brianna. It's kind of like a life question. What are your opinions of moving to a new city and then finding a job as opposed to not moving until you find a job in said city? Is one way more responsible than the other? Also, was there a certain amount of money any of you had saved before you moved, or did you just peace out one day? I personally, I saved up about $200,000, and then I thought, well, I think I can live on this for a little bit. Laura, you're kind of going through this right now, aren't you?
Yeah, actually I am. So, and I mean, I've moved a whole lot, as you guys know, so I've been through this before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that it's necessarily problematic to go somewhere if you don't know where you're going to be working, but you probably should be responsible and make sure that you budget enough of enough money to last you for a month or two while you figure out what it is you're going to do. I did this when I moved to Costa Rica.
Mm-hmm.
I went down there and I I had an idea for a job, but I wasn't quite sure how it was going to pan out. So I went down with probably...
It's cheaper down there, though, no?
It is cheaper, but still, I mean, you're living completely off of your own money. Like, you're not getting a steady influx of paychecks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I went down with about $1,500, and that lasted me for quite a while down there. But
2
it
weeks.
was a little longer than that. But it was good because it made me feel comfortable. And, I knew that if I didn't find a job by the end of the month, I would still be able to pay my rent. It wasn't going to be a huge thing. Before I moved to New York, I saved actually not that much more than that, to be perfectly honest with you. But I knew I had a job here. So yeah, I think you can do it either way. But I think the responsible way to do it is to make sure that you can take care of yourself while you figure out what you're doing.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things to go off of that is to really just take a look at yourself and try to actually answer the question, like, are you the kind of person that can survive on your own without any insurance?
I actually think that it can be wise to move out without a job, because then it'll force you to get something or to get moving. Whereas if you're just back in your hometown, maybe say you're living at your parents or something, you may not be as motivated to get the job because it's like, well, if things don't work out, I can still stay here, which is fine. But I know people, I've had discussions actually recently with people who have contemplated moving out here. And in my head, I think, don't move out here. There's too many people in LA. I don't need more people.
I don't want to see
It's just one more car. Yeah.
No, but they're always contemplating it. And then I hear these people hearing stories from other people about, they moved out here kind of on a whim without any certain job, and now they're doing good. So if you move out and you hustle, you'll stay motivated, and I think you'll hopefully get something. Just make sure when you come out here or wherever, there's a job market for the type of job you want. Don't stack the odds against you.
Right.
Well, and I think you need to understand that there will probably be a period of time where things are a little rough.
Yeah.
Understand that you might eat rice and beans for all 3 meals for multiple weeks. I've done
That's
this.
all they serve in Costa Rica, though, I thought.
It is. It is. But it's actually also one of the cheapest ways that you can live and still get protein. So
There you go.
It's also probably
slurping cum.
It's also probably important to have some kind of motivation when you're there too.
Right. No, I agree with everything that's been said. And Andrew, you touched on it. Like, there is a certain level of complacency that develops. If you're in your hometown, and I think that there's a lack of motivation to push you forward to go out and try something different. And, my recommendation would be, if you have a little bit of money and you're not afraid to take the risk, go and do it. Like, go live somewhere else, because, hopefully you're in a situation where you can always come back home if it doesn't work out. But I think for most people, once they're out and they're on their own, they're doing their own thing, they make it work, because the independence, the freedom, the ability to do your own thing, it outweighs everything else.
And, I know not everybody has a car, but we live in a remarkable time right now where you can become your own taxi driver and work your own hours. I mean, you could work for Uber and make some good money while you're waiting to get a job.
Just move wherever you want and become an Uber driver.
I am seriously contemplating, I think I've mentioned this before, I'm seriously contemplating working for Uber. Imagine the stories I would have for Millennial.
It would be pretty good. You could tell us about people throwing up in your back seat.
Yeah. I've heard stories. Now, this is disturbing, but I've heard stories from Uber drivers about people trying to get them to have a threesome with them in the car. I mean, imagine me telling that story and, saying yes to the threesome and doing it.
And putting it on Snapchat.
What?
And putting it on Snapchat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Filters
Patron
and
exclusive Snapchat.
Throw some filters up.
All right. Next question. This is from Ashley. What was your most memorable moment of 2015?
Ooh.
Oh.
For me, it was when I had a threesome in the back of an Uber.
I knew there was some truth to that story. Andrew just didn't make that up out of nowhere.
No,
go ahead.
I mean, I've had an interesting year with Hypable personally. There's been some, it was a bit of a struggle bus over the summer. So for me, it was kind of just getting a good handle on Hypable. Like, I'm in a much better place with it now than I was a few months ago. So, I know that's not like a memorable moment exactly. But also that was just kind of the first thing that came to mind for me. Just like really, really, really getting a hold of Hypable for the better. So that's what I'll remember from 2015.
I mean, I don't know. I have a couple of things, but I will have to say this show has definitely been one of them.
Yeah.
Because one, I mean, we've all done podcasts before, but there's something about this one that feels different to me. I don't know. I've really enjoyed it. And it's also been great because, of course, we've all been friends for a long time, but we sort of did fall out of touch there for a couple years. It's not like we weren't talking to each other at all, but like it was the messages were very few and far between. And so having this as a motivation to, get back together it's been fun. It's been nice.
Yeah. That was actually going to be one of mine, but I'm glad you said it, Laura. So I can
stole it.
I can be a good family member and say that my favorite moment of 2015 was meeting my nephew for the first time.
Oh, that's right. He's so
nice.
Cute.
I get to see him, so I'm excited.
And Micah?
Uncle Matt.
Not that we care about you anymore.
I would say. I miss you guys.
No,
Not
you
really.
don't.
Shouldn't have quit.
No, it's true. I see that Patreon all the time, and I'm like, damn, I should have stayed. I'm just kidding.
What's your favorite moment of the year?
Favorite moment of 2015 would probably be going to the White House and meeting the president.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's pretty good.
So, yeah.
Yes.
I guess, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I love this question. This is from Layla. With the end of the year and break from schoolwork upon us, I was wondering if you all had any book suggestions, perhaps a must-read book from 2015 or an all-time favorite. This time of year is when I really have time to read for pleasure, so I'm looking for as many options as possible. Any great books this year from y'all?
I haven't really gotten to read for pleasure all that much this year because of how busy school has been.
Mm-hmm.
I can recommend you some really interesting articles from the TESOL Applied Linguistics Journal, if you're interested in that. Yeah, I don't think I have much for you. I'm sorry.
There was a good book I read. I read a bunch this year, but Memory Man by David Baldacci. It's kind of a crime novel thriller. I mean, I'm sure the Corman Strike novels will get thrown out there as well, but this was a really good one. It was really you really had to think through it if you're into those kinds of books. But it was every time you thought that it was solved, there was another layer. So I like those kinds of books, trying to solve those puzzles.
There is a book that I just started reading that's gotten a lot of attention, and it's called A Little Life by Anya Yanagihara, I believe her name is. Basically, it's about it's a fictional novel about four male friends who moved to New York City, and basically it's just them trying to come to terms with being in their 20s and their careers, and like each character like has their own kind of plot line, but one of them, the main character, has obviously has gone through a lot of like traumatic, horrible things in their life, in his life, and you slowly start to figure out like how bad like his life was. And I mean, it's really well written. I cannot believe like this woman has written men so amazingly, and I can't wait to finish it, and I'm kind of scared too. But it's become one of the big bestsellers this year. So
cool. Mine, I love gay fiction. And there's a book this year that was so good. It's called Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. It's a great coming out type story. It was recommended to me by a friend, and I just loved it. So definitely check that out. By the way, Fox purchased the movie rights a couple months ago, so maybe the next Fault in Our Stars. Just saying. Not
cool.
A cancer movie, though. All right, well, it's been a very full show here today, so we're going to wrap up. Coming up in After Dark, we're going to do a couple looser segments. We're going to do Question of the Week and Question Palooza. Laura, what are you thinking with these two question segments? All these questions.
I I was lazy when I was planning, so.
Question of the week. Question Palooza.
So many questions.
Oh, and also we got a great political tweet of the week.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Micah, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Happy
I'm always
Hanukkah.
happy
This was
to
fun, yeah.
come back and have a few laughs and some serious discussion.
Have you received any good gifts for Hanukkah, by the way? Do you do that? Is that a thing?
Yeah, no, we do. I mean, not yet, but we'll see. I mean,
Nothing
we
good
celebrate
yet,
both
or
holidays
no good,
here.
No good things yet.
All good things.
I got some gelt, which is traditional Hanukkah money that you get.
Oh,
It's
that's
chocolate.
Nice.
Cool.
That's nice.
Well, no, these were actually
Like real
dollars. Yeah, they're you don't bite them and
Oh.
try and eat them. Yeah, no.
I mean, you can.
I mean, you can, but I mean, you probably break your teeth.
Do you like? Are they for like strippers? Like,
Yeah,
You know, like
I mean,
dollar
you
bills.
could. They probably wouldn't, hold up in the panties, but they'd slide right
this is
through.
weighing me down.
The chocolate ones will melt.
Gold.
Yeah, that's true too. You've done
Well-
that before, haven't you, Matt?
No, but to myself, yes.
Well, this is very exciting. Micah is going to be keeping a live blog of his Hanukkah gifts that he receives on millennialshow.com, so be sure to check that out. And also be sure to follow us on social media, twitter.com/millennialshow and facebook.com/millennialshow. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you next week for episode 45. Goodbye.
Bye.
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 Shalom.